Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Hello there. So who talks first? You talk first. I talk first.
That'll be me. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Foster, along with the one, the only Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there. Sorry, I got caught up in our own music and I forgot what I was doing.
That's all right. I know we're a little bit later, you guys. Y'all out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're a little bit later because we're so excited that we did a crossover event and we recorded this morning. And that crossover event is with Nerdery and Murdery.
Yeah.
Mike, you want to talk briefly about what all that was about?
So, yeah, we've been planning this crossover event since February.
Yeah.
So it's been in the works for a while. But actually, my daughter Megan came up with the idea of doing the story of The Exorcist, seeing how Exorcist actually had the true life story actually has ties to St. Louis. And since we live in the St. Louis area, we figured we'd take on that challenge. So yeah. We discussed the novel, the movie, and the real life events in a crossover event between our show, and their show. So you'll see part 1 on our show, which will be released next Friday, and then part 2, I believe, will be released the following Wednesday. Don't quote me on that, though.
Right. Our show, as I said on both podcasts, our show is kind of like the appetizer, talking about the movie.
Very true.
The meat is going to be on Nerdery and Murdery's podcast, which is going to be great. Which is great. It was great. Well, it was fantastic.
And those guys are great. If you've never checked out Nerdery and Murdery, please check them out. Zig does some deep dives into the nerd side. A lot of similar topics to what we do. He really does a great job. And then Jeff goes into true life crime and murder, which is some really interesting stories. And again, they do some amazing research and they really research their topics a lot better than we do.
That is absolutely true. And what's cool is I love how Jeff on his portion, well, they both do. I'm sorry, both Zig and Jeff, they cite their sources.
Yes.
Of all the, the whole listing of all the different, where they got all their information and stuff. Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't do that.
We're just good about saying, hey, I Googled it.
Every once in a while we might. I mean, we don't have a list of sources like they do.
Right.
But,
I have my whole list of sources right here that I forgot to bring up for the for the last part, or for the second part of the story for exorcisms and stuff. So
that's
all right. Enough. Yeah.
That's all right. We're not here to talk about The Exorcist on this episode, though.
That's right.
We are here to talk about episode 4 of Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you could kind of tie that over to The Exorcist and the different personalities, and because Mark Spector does have different personalities.
He does have, what's it called? Dissociative identity disorder.
Correct. So it has been officially said that that's what he has too, in the series and in the comic books. So
in the comics as well. Very cool.
Yep. But yeah, so episode 4,
Episode 4. Okay,
Uh,
so are you going to give it your rating and all that kind of good jazz?
yeah. Let's see. What should we rate this one? What should our scale be on this one? Man, I didn't think about ahead of time of what our scale would be on this one. Um,
That's all right.
sarcophagus.
Oh, nice word. Sarcophaguses.
Sarcophagus. Thank you.
Sarcophagus.
Sorry,
What'd you
I
say,
got
Megan? I'm sorry.
Sarcophagus.
She was correcting me.
Now, wait a minute. If it's
Am I
plural, is it
present?
sarcophagi? I'm just kidding.
If the plural of goose is geese, then isn't the plural of moose meese?
Right.
In my head, it is. So
right.
yes, sarcophagus. I can't say the word. Anyway,
Sarcophagus.
sarcophagus.
I like that. I like that. Go with it. Yes, I like it.
I will go with 3.5. Yeah, those things.
Okay. Yes, I
Egyptian
would.
coffins.
Yeah, I will go with 3.5, but I will not give it more. It's a solid 3.5.
Yeah, I
on
wasn't
this
going
one
to give
for
it
me.
more. I said 3.5.
Right. Yeah.
I-
Right.
Honestly, I didn't think you'd score this 3.5. I really didn't. I was like, I'm watching it going, yeah, Steven already hates this episode.
Now, why did you think that?
Because there are points it's kind of slow. And I will say that right up front. There are some points it's slow. However, there are some good points, and there's some, that crazy. You don't know what's going on, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that was total take one right off.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that. But
it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It is interesting, but you know how I am with.
I know.
What is going on.
You don't like the mystery. You prefer to have your answers up front. I understand.
Not necessarily. I'm one of those guys where. Remember how Jeff from Nerdery Murdery said yesterday or earlier? Oh,
Zig
Zig.
just
Hey,
popped in.
Zig.
And
Nice,
he's correcting me too.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
But what did Jeff made the
Oh
comment?
no, he's just saying nice choice. Okay, cool.
Sarcophagus, yeah. Jeff had stated that he was going to watch the whole thing. Now, unfortunately, as we've said, doing our podcast the way we do, we don't have that privilege. But I bet you if I saw the whole thing, I'd be okay with it. But this,
probably.
But I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I knew that going in when we get to that point. And I won't reveal right away what that point is. But when we get to that point, I sit there and I said, yeah, Steven hates this episode. I look at Brenda and I go, yeah, Steven hates this episode. Now I have to say, Brenda wasn't on board for this episode either. She didn't like what was going on either. So I'm fine with it because I'm like, it's going to pay off either next episode or the 6th episode. So I think it'll pay off.
Snore. Here we go. I'm just kidding.
Here you go. Here, should I go get a spoon to spoon feed you?
Maybe.
That's it. I need to come up with a 2 geeks and a microphone spoon. Oh, my wife just scored at 2.75. Wow.
Right on.
You even gave it a higher score than that. I didn't think it was a bad episode though.
Right.
I was fine with it.
Yeah. Okay.
We got some good moments.
There was good moments. Give me just a second. My audio just went weird.
Okay. His audio went weird to kind of match him because he's kind of weird. Let's see if he heard me. Now you're just making faces at me, so I don't know if you're back on or not. Are you there, Steven?
I am here now. Good night.
Okay.
That was so weird.
Oh my gosh, you were smiling like the Joker over there.
It made it seem like it sounded a big old.
Oh, you're coming in and out. I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're having technical issues.
I'm back. I'm back. Okay.
Back?
My
Are you sure?
system's running slow. But yeah, my system's running slow because of the rendering it's doing, I think, is I'm rendering our previous podcast stuff going on.
Hey, Zig just made a good comment here too.
Okay.
Exposition helps with good storytelling. I'm with you, Zig. I agree. I like that. I still stand by the episode was a little slow, but other than that, I like the storytelling that's going on. So I totally agree with you. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if Steven agrees, but
Mhm. I'm proud.
I I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you at all there.
Yeah. I'm just saying I was processing what Zig was saying. The exposition helps with good storytelling.
Gotcha. You are in and out. I don't know what's going on, dude.
Huh. All right, I'll go out and I'll come back in. I'm sorry, buddy. My system looks kind of overloaded, but I don't have anything else really going on. So, see what's happening.
All right. So you do that. You go out and come back in. So in this episode of Moon Knight, we kind of get the Indiana Jones treatment of this because we see the whole archaeology side of this with Layla, and she's doing the whole archaeology thing. They get inside the I think they're in the pyramid and get to the sarcophagus. Say it for me, Megan.
Sarcophagus.
Sarcophagus. Thank you. Now I find the whole archaeology thing to be interesting because we're conditioned with Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, and all these archaeology exciting movies, and I sit here and question: is archaeology really all that exciting? I would like to meet an archaeologist who's watched these episodes and see what their thinking is. Is it really all that exciting? Do they go through that?
I would say no.
Yeah, you would say no to that?
Yeah, I would say no.
Did you hear any of what I was talking about that?
I was, yes.
I mean, it's kind of like in Indiana Jones when he's getting shot at and everything, Indiana Jones 3, and Sean Connery makes the comment, "Well, this doesn't happen to me." Well, it happens to me all the time, Dad.
Right.
And we see that all the time in all these archaeology adventure films and stuff like that. And somehow I don't think that's how archaeology is.
No, it's super tedious if I understand correctly.
There's no chasing people with guns and all that good stuff. So
right. A lot of marking and a lot of cataloging.
Right. Sounds like a lot of dullness.
Right.
But it's never portrayed that way in the films. Never.
Nope.
That's kind of what we get here.
What did you like best about this episode?
I loved when he's trying to get the what did he was it the it was the
little statue?
Yeah, I loved that. That was great.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Great.
Yes, Mr. The Great. Not just great.
Mr. The Great. That's right. Mr.
Oh,
the
by
Great.
the way, I didn't realize that Alexander the Great was an Egyptian pharaoh. I thought he was
I don't know
Roman.
if that's just storytelling or I have no idea.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I was like, wait a minute. Alexander, wasn't he Roman? I was, or Greek.
He's Greek. Greek Roman.
Okay, he's Greek. Right, yeah, Greek Roman.
Greek. Mm-hmm.
Wow, but Zig says he was. Interesting. And Zig would probably know that too. Because he does his research. He was crowned Pharaoh.
Okay. Because I knew he was the leader of, he had conquered what they knew as the free
Zig said
world.
he was Macedonian, which they do mention that in the episode too. They Steven says that in the episode.
Stephen Grant. Not
yeah.
this Stephen Grant.
No, you were trying to stay awake.
No, actually, I enjoy that whole part. I enjoyed the whole thing with that little weird mummy creature and
tearing open the mouth and sticking his hand down
his hand down there.
That was just gross, man. That was so gross, but I loved every minute of it.
I have to give kudos to Oscar Isaac on his acting for this series, between the different personalities and bouncing back and forth and I mean, I'm sure he has prep time. It's not like they're doing one continuous shot, kind of a thing. But still, he makes it very believable who Stephen Grant is, very believable who Mark Spector is.
Now, what do you think of his British accent, though?
Oh, it's a hoot.
Because I've heard people say that there's jokes and complaints about his British accent, but he kind of did that on purpose too.
Yes,
because he's like, well, it's not,
it's not meant to be a real British accent. It's meant to be a multiple personality of an individual who's trying to put on a British accent who is not really British.
Right. So to me, that says the acting is really good.
Right. Yeah.
That's my take on it. I don't know if I can agree with that, Zig. Zig says Dick Van Dyke bad. No, I think his accent's better than Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke is terrible. It's better than that.
Gosh.
I can't.
That's
I can't
funny. That's a good one, Zig.
Zig, we're gonna have to have you on a live episode one of these times.
Oh my goodness.
No, I really enjoyed that. I thought that was cool. It was a neat detail. I liked how he put it together where to find the statue, because he said that Alexander was considered the voice, and I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
that was the same. I assumed that they were, when he drew the Eye of Horus, and that was actually a map to the underground area where they were at. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, okay. And so it was the whole tongue be in the mouth and then put it together to break the jaw, reach down in there and get the statue. I thought that was brilliant.
I didn't catch that, but okay, that's a pretty cool detail too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like that. I thought that was cool.
I enjoyed the whole tomb raiding scene. Just saying.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed all.
No,
of
that. I figured you'd like the tomb raiding scene, because that's callbacks to Raiders of the Lost Ark, Tomb Raider. All those archaeology adventure,
fake archaeology adventures.
right. Exactly. So I figured you'd like it. Oh, here we go. Stop it. We're gonna get copyright strike. I just talked about that.
Yes, we did. By golly, yes, we did. I will say this: there was a scene where the girl, I can't think of her name, almost Layla, she's walking across the edge of the side of where the big gaping hole is, the bottomless pit. And then all of a sudden, here's that mummy creature. And when it comes out of the shadows and grabs her and sucks her back in, they don't do it just once. They do it twice. Yeah. I'm like, oh no. And that was scary.
Yeah, that was a good moment. I like that. In fact, Brenda goes, "Oh, don't kill Layla." I go, "They ain't killing Layla.
They're not.
That ain't happening." And sure enough, and then when the mummy creature went tumbling down, I go, "See, told you they weren't going to kill her."
Right. Brenda gave another good example of fake archaeology. National Treasure.
I do love that movie. That is a great movie too.
Yeah.
A lot of fun things. The whole. I love the map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. That's great. That is awesome. Not that anyone would ever be able to steal that, hopefully.
Right.
That is that is probably the most unbelievable treasure movie ever.
But it's
But
fun.
but it is a fun ride.
That's
Definitely
right.
a fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, they're doing a series on that, and the guy who played the little goofy sidekick is actually going to make an appearance to help kick off the new series, National Treasure series, and something like that. So it should be
cool.
interesting.
Well, Angie just wrote us a book.
Okay.
The accent shouldn't be a fake one because I know someone who has did, and one of her personalities has a perfect American accent while the others have varying versions of
Versions
British
of British.
accent.
DID,
Okay.
dissociative identity
One
disorder.
is
Okay.
Cockney, one is Welsh, while the others are more Midwestern Brit. Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, I'm just going off of Oscar Isaac has actually said that he didn't mean it to be a perfect British accent because he figured basically it's somebody who's pretending to be British when they really aren't. So,
That is interesting, Angie, though. Thanks for sharing that.
yeah, that is very good.
Interesting.
Anyway, so we both really like the archaeology, the fake
Yes.
archaeology. We both
I
enjoyed
love the reveal discussion, or the what we presume to be the reveal discussion between Harrow and Layla.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that was a great scene. And then it is revealed to Layla by Arthur Harrow, that
Mhm.
he believes that Mark killed her father. Now, in the comic books, Mark did kill all these archaeologists on a site. It does happen in the original comics.
Okay.
I don't think he killed her father though. Well, but of course in the books she doesn't exist. It's the character of her father that's in the books, and at some
Okay.
point he does get killed. But I've got a theory. But I want to wait till I reveal what my theory is. I have a theory of who killed her father. So I don't think it was
Okay.
Mark. I don't think it was Mark,
I don't think it was Mark either.
but
I'm,
I have a
I'm-
theory.
Okay.
I have a
I want to hear.
So
I want to hear. I want to hear your theory.
well, hold on. We gotta go a little further before I get to that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So I really did like that conversation, and then that leads into the little thing between her and Steven, and Steven
Mhm.
actually kisses. Nope, Zig. Nope. I don't believe it was Khonshu. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it anyway. That then leads into the conversation between her and Steven kisses her, and Mark punches Steven in the face.
That's funny. Yeah.
I loved it. I thought that was hilarious, and I don't
Now,
blame him.
So
I don't blame
in that scene, you hear like a wind gush, whoop, and then all of a sudden he punches himself. That sound reminded me directly off the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze,
him.
because anytime they would make something physical move, you would hear that, whoop, sound. And I thought, I wonder if
Interesting.
that's the same sound. Not that I try to compare them and stuff, but I had wondered.
It could be. I mean, they recycle sounds and music and stuff like that all the time. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't catch that, but that's.
But it was good. And he punches himself.
I try to forget Ghost. I mean, jeez, I'm so tired of that movie. It's not one of my favorites. I mean,
That's all right. That's all right.
there were some good scenes in it, but it's yeah.
I will say this though, I'd agree with you. That was kind of a fun scene where he does have him punch
Oh
him,
my
and
gosh, that was hilarious.
it was good. And then
But
where he
then-
falls down the hole. I thought, I wonder if he did that too. I wonder if Mark made him trip and fall going down too.
Yes, this is true. Yes. My wife said, but I ditto all the time. And yes, that is true. I do that. And, yes, I did steal that from that movie. I won't deny that. I'm just tired of the movie. That's all. Anyway, so then we get into her confronting Mark about the death of her father.
Yes, based upon what she was told by Harrow.
Right, because she didn't know that Mark was there, and Mark admitted, "Yes, I was there the night your father was killed." And then, of course, he does not reveal who killed her father, and I think I know why. So,
well, he said this, which this is all I'll say, and then it may lead into what you're saying.
Okay,
what
go
I
ahead.
heard him say is he goes, I balanced his scales. Harrow made a comment about saying, or I saw his scales, or something to that effect. So go ahead.
Okay. All right. So then we get to the moment where Arthur comes in, and Arthur shoots Mark. Yeah, I think he's Mark at that point.
He is. Yes, he is Mark at that point. Yes.
Right. So, and we get the point where Mark falls in the water, and that's where things get weird, because we end up in the mental institution, and you're going, "What the heck happened here?" I think this is all in Mark's head. I think this is in Mark's head, and I think this is a way for Khonshu. I want to make sure I say Khonshu. I want to say it right. I had somebody critique me the other day, telling me I was saying his name wrong. So Khonshu, like your shoe.
Okay.
So when that person listens to it, he will know that I'm purposely trying to say it correctly.
Okay.
Anyway,
Khonshu.
I think because in the comic books, Khonshu has saved Mark many times. In fact, he's brought him back to life. Mark has actually died, and Khonshu has brought him back to life. So I think we're getting that first moment. Now I don't know how that's happening, because Khonshu is encased in the statue at the moment, but I think that's the purpose of this fever dream.
Okay.
that Mark currently is in, because obviously he's not in reality, but he is in the psychiatric ward. He is in a psychiatric ward. Layla's there. Arthur is there, and Arthur is being his psychiatrist or doctor, whatever. So he's there. We actually get the two guards that came after Stephen. They're there. And then we get one guy who died in the archaeology event. He's there. So all these people that really shouldn't be there are there, which is interesting. And then we get the moment that Stephen and Mark separate, and they're actually face to face, which I love.
Yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
It was great. It was a great scene. It really was. That's one of my favorite scenes of that section of
it was fantastic. I loved it. But then they're running around. And there's a point where I think they each come out of a sarcophagus. And then we get one more sarcophagus. And it's
sarcophagus?
That thing. The Egyptian
coffin.
That thing's moving around, but it doesn't open. And that's where my theory comes in. I believe I believe that's Jake. I believe that's the third personality. And I think Jake is the one that actually killed Layla's father. You don't sound like you're buying it, though.
No, I'm processing that.
Okay.
Yeah, because realistically, what we have is here's what he said. Here's what Mark says to Layla. He says, Mark says, my partner got greedy.
Right.
And so I'm processing that with what you just said, that maybe it was Jake who killed.
Now, the only thing that, with you saying that, could throw this off is so far they're playing it like Mark doesn't know that there's a third personality, because we have those moments where Mark comes to and people have been slaughtered more or less, and he's like, Steven, what did you do? And Steven's like, I didn't do that.
Right.
And it's that moment that they realize that, or well, I don't even know if they realize it yet, but there's a third personality that's doing that. And to me, he's the most ruthless of the three, which is why I think he's the one that killed Layla's father, which is going to make their relationship that more difficult.
That's interesting. That was not the theory where I was going.
Okay.
That's
All right.
interesting. I find that interesting, though. I like that. My theory was the partner was Harrow, and because he did his scales, and then, or, you know, he killed everybody because that's what they deserved, or before they did anything or whatever. And then Khonshu, that's when Khonshu came to Mark, was at that point in time.
Interesting. I like that thinking, but there's nothing that's led us to believe that Arthur and Mark were partners. That's the only thing that throws that off, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
So, and just like my theory, the only thing that throws that off is the whole Mark doesn't seem to know. At least they're playing it off like Mark doesn't know that Jake exists yet.
Right. The way they're giving it. Yeah. Okay. Next week ought to be an interesting episode.
Right.
I'm glad it's only 4 days away.
And we only got 2 more episodes too. So
right. Angie says there are some personalities that are unaware of others and some that are angry. So it would make sense. Angie, I'm going to ask you a question, and I know there's a time thing, so you may hear it quickly or not. I have heard that under DID, there are those that there's always one personality that knows all the others.
The one in the light. Well, no, the one in the light's just the one in control.
No, there's one who is a caretaker between them all,
right,
that keeps some of them separated from knowing others, kind of a thing. I've heard that.
Wouldn't that be the main personality, the real personality?
No, not always.
Sometimes the real person, the original the host gets buried.
Okay, because I believe Mark is the host. I believe he's the original.
The protector. Angie says yes, the protector, and then she said no, but I'm not for sure what you said no to. Angie, come on in. Maybe that's what she's saying no to. Yes, please come in, Angie. Yes. Maybe that's what she's saying. Hi, Angie.
Hey.
Hey, okay. Turn your volume down because I can hear us.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
So basically, from what I've learned, you have the protector who, after there's a traumatic experience, they become the person that is like the mother figure that knows like everything that's going on and keeps things separated to protect the main personality. And then you always have a child, and then you always have like one that's like super angry that absorbs the trauma in a way that they tend to lash out in different ways. And a lot of times like it's self-harm, but like in movies they make it like, oh, they're the villain and they're the whatever. And then there's others that take on the personality of like being the happy-go-lucky one that's always like, they're the ones that mask like what's really going on type thing, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's always at least 4 different personalities: angry, protector, the main personality, and then like a child version that doesn't always come up a lot of times it's this person has like, 30 years gone by, and then all of a sudden a child pops up out of nowhere, and they're like, where's this coming from? And it's the childlike nature that a lot of us have. It breaks off into a fragment, what they call it, of being a personality.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, one of my first delve into dissociative identity disorder was when I watched a Matlock episode, and
Oh,
Yeah.
and
You
one
talked about
personality murdered the person, but that was kind of the reveal at the end. But they said, no, we gave her a sleeping pill, and so she was
I
asleep
forgot
because
about
she
that
had a
episode.
sleeping pill, and then found out per studies. And I was taking psychology at the time. I was at the university. I was studying, and I went to my professors and I asked them, "Is this true?" And they said, "Yes."
Yeah,
You can put one personality asleep, and another, as soon as they fall asleep, another personality can wake up and take over.
Wow.
The perfect example that I can share that I learned from this person that I've followed for years that had dissociative identity is that when they have all these fragments, it's like you're driving a car, and the one who's fronting, what they call, is driving, and the rest of them are taking a back seat. And sometimes they can either watch it like you're watching a movie screen, and they can see what's going on. And then other times they have no idea what's going on, and they have what they call an inner world, where they're doing like whatever, like it's like they have their own life. And then, when they front, then it's like, okay, now they're whatever. But that's like I thought that was a really good analogy to think like, oh, the main personality is the person driving,
That makes sense.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Well,
But
in the movie Split, they use the analogy of the one that's in the light is the one that's in control. So
Right.
because they'll say, "Can you
Oh.
bring so and so into the light?"
mhm.
And then that's the one that's in control. But I do like the idea of driving the car. That's a good analogy too. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
And
see, in
there's
Moon Knight, we don't have a child at all.
right. Yeah, in a lot of movies, they don't always show that unless it's
Right.
specifically about DID. 9 out of 10 times, it's you got your protector, you got your murderer, and then you got your main person is the ones that they show.
Of course, maybe with the Steven personality, they're combining a childlike, because
That's true.
I guess in a way you could say he's got kind of a childlike sense
That's
about
true.
him.
Yeah,
So maybe Steven is the
childlike version.
Or-
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Huh.
So, but I'd be interested to see it, and I love that they are discussing DID, and they're not going like too overboard, like Split and everything did. But at the same
Oh, I
time,
love Split.
I loved it, but I
It
just
was a great movie.
so not DID. Like it's the complete opposite of what DID actually is. But I think it would be really neat to see like all these different personalities as the show goes on, even if there's one like where they show a personality for like a brief second, and they're like, I don't know who I am. And then like it goes back to like, you know what I mean? Like that would be really cool because that's how DID is. Like sometimes there'll be a personality to pop up and they have no idea who they are because it's a very small fragment of a personality. It's interesting.
Now,
Whoa.
Zig just commented. Now,
In Identity, the child was the killer. Yeah,
I've never
spoiler
seen
alert.
Good to know. I know. I paused it. I was watching.
I haven't seen Identity, so
I was watching the fourth episode.
The last 15 minutes of that movie, you don't know what's going on through the whole movie until the last 15 minutes, and you're like, what?
So what you're saying is, Steven, you hit the skip button until the last 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. You know I'm kidding.
I know,
Gonna
yeah.
tease you about that
It's
every
funny.
time.
That's okay. Angie,
Anyway,
thanks
so
for
there you go,
joining
guys.
us. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thanks for
Angie.
joining us on it. That was good. Thank you.
Can
Anyway.
I comment something?
What do you want to say, Megan?
I just want to say, I think in more recent development with talking about DID, the term alter is preferred over personalities.
Say that again.
When you're talking about the different alters, instead of, I think in current, it's preferred to say alter rather than personality.
Oh, okay. Oh, in in reference to alternate identities.
Yes,
Gotcha.
because
Okay.
I think they're trying to lead away from the whole personality thing. I don't know. I don't know. It's a big thing that I've heard about it.
So what you're saying is they're actually what do we call them in the Marvel universe? Um, oh gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Variants.
Variant.
Right.
Oh, okay. Alters.
I wouldn't
Okay,
really
I got
call
it.
it a variant, but
Kind
Right.
of is.
I gotcha. That's interesting. Alternate, like alters for alternate
alternate
person.
identity,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
That
Okay.
makes sense. That
And-
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Angie
Now the
made a
movie
comment
Identity
about it.
actually is good. John Cusack is in it, and that's why I watched it, because I like him as an actor. And it's a murder mystery. There's all these people at a hotel, and people are dying one by one, and you're like, what in the world is going on? But at the same time, there's these people that are talking to this individual, who's kind of telling a story. They're like in a judge's chambers, and they're having this conversation with them, and there's a psychologist who's talking with this guy who is in a white cloak and chained up and stuff, and they're talking to him. You don't know what's going on. And then at the end, the doctor holds up a mirror to this guy who's sitting at the table in the white jumpsuit and stuff. I guess he's on trial for murder. And he holds up the mirror, and when the guy looks in the mirror, it's John Cusack staring back at him.
Whoa.
And then you realize he's got dissociative identity disorder, and in his mind, the killer, who ends up being the kid, is the one who's killing off all the other personalities.
Oh wow.
And he's becoming the one in control. That's kind of how it plays out. So, spoiler, sorry, it's an old movie.
Well, yeah, Zig just said 20 years ago, so
Yeah. Yeah.
but he also said it's so good too, so I might have to check that out. I don't know.
Well, I just spoiled the ending for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all right. There is okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's my theory. I think that Jake is the third personality, which is yet to be revealed. And man, they got to hurry that up because you only got 2 more episodes. So
there's only 2 more. So I would
Right.
assume that we get a lot of reveals in this next episode, with the big action ending in the 6th episode.
Agreed. And we're gonna have to get the background. Well, I think that's the reason Arthur reveals to Layla that Mark was there when her father was killed, and I think that's setting up the background story on Mark and Moon Knight and how he becomes
Mhm.
Moon Knight. I think that's a whole
Mhm.
setup right there. So
Mhm.
we're probably going to get that in episode 5, and then episode 6 is going to be the battle between him and Arthur, which yeah, I saw some clips, and yeah, I'm disappointed.
You saw some clips. What do you mean you saw some clips?
There's a clip out there of Moon Knight and Arthur battling, and Arthur's Arthur. He's not. I wanted him to have a specific avatar.
Oh, right, in avatar form.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting that, because in the comic book, there is another Moon Knight that battles Moon Knight, and I think he's an alternate.
Lunar.
Yeah, well, an alternate avatar to Khonshu or something like that,
Oh.
or a
Oh.
previous one. So
Okay.
and Arthur has already revealed that he was once Khonshu's avatar. So
Mhm.
I was expecting him to either look like the other Moon Knight or a whole different, look for
Mhm.
Ahmet, one of the two. So it sounds like he's just going to be Arthur, him and his sandals with glass in it. So
Mhm. Mhm.
so I'm already slightly disappointed, but oh well, at least I know up front, and, I can throw that all away now. and just be interested in the battle. So yeah.
Right.
I'm
Right.
getting it over now. I'm, world's smallest violin.
You did it, not me.
I know. I'm doing it on purpose too. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay,
what
so
else
there's
did you
clips
like
out there.
about the episode?
The whole sequence with that weird mummy thing was good. I talked about that. I talked about Harrow having that conversation. I do think Harrow's the murderer of her dad, Layla's dad. I think he was the partner, but I also, but the question is at what point did Khonshu come in? So I may not be right about that one. That's not all fleshed out real good.
Well, this is both of our theories, so it's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
They're just theories.
I wondered at the big when they were first in the psychiatric ward, and there was the lady that drew the picture of like a sparrow, but it had the head of Khonshu.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. And I go, I wonder if these are all, if most of the people in here who are almost catatonic or whatever, or not, or maybe not, or the people who are there who are not the orderlies, are all
Right.
people who Khonshu has inhabited.
Ooh.
And but that doesn't flow through because Layla's in there, unless Layla
Right.
ends up becoming one for a little bit. Like let's go beyond space and time, and these are all people at some point in time, past, present, future, who have been part of Khonshu's avatars. Or
Well, now Khonshu has already told Mark that Layla's his backup.
right.
So, he's told Mark, if you don't work out, I'm taking her. So
Right.
Which I think she'd be a fantastic avatar anyway, but not that I think she'd be better than Mark, but I think she'd be pretty darn cool. I kind of want to see her as the Moon Knight. I think it would be neat.
Well, I equate it to, we got the female Venom, kind of a thing. You got the Tom Hardy, and then what's her name? You got that version, and I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to get a female version of Moon Knight.
She-Venom has appeared in the comics. That is
Yeah.
one that actually was. I don't know if there's been a female version of Moon Knight in the comics, but I'm just saying, if we get a moment, even if it's just a moment with her as the Avatar, I think it'd be kind of cool. But I don't know that we will. I don't think we will in season 1.
Would it be instead of Mr. Knight? Would it be Miss Knight?
I don't know. I just like Mr. the Great.
You're right. The Great.
Hilarious. Sorry, Mr. the Great. That was great.
It was good. It was good. So, I also enjoyed the surprise at the very, very end, where obviously there was another god who, Zig says Moon Dame.
I like it.
That's good. I like it. I
nice.
like that.
Good one, Zig.
Where you had the hippo. You had the hippo.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that's another one of the other gods, or
it
kind
is
of a thing.
But
I thought it was funny how you expected something big, rough, and you get this itty bitty voice, hi, hi, and then they scream.
Yeah, both of them at the same time. Ah!
Right.
And they both have the exact same scream. I know they're the same person, but still, you don't expect Mark to scream like that. You know what I mean? Because you expect Steven to have kind of this. I don't mean you, but
right, Steven.
Right.
Steven.
I'm not saying it because of the name. I'm just saying
Steven Grant.
The character that Steven Grant has portrayed so far, you kind of expect him to have a girly response, a girly kind of
but
scream.
Not Mark Spector.
No, you don't expect that in Mark, and it was just the exact same scream. Ah, is kind of girly,
Right.
Anyway. But yeah, I love that. So I think, I don't know what the name of that god is, but she is definitely one of the Egyptian gods, and I got a feeling she's on their side. So I think she's going to team up with them. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. I haven't figured that out yet, but we'll figure it out in 4 days, right?
That's right. Hopefully we'll get it figured out in 4 days.
Bess. Oh, her name's Bess. Okay.
Oh,
Bess.
Okay.
Man, when I hear Bess, I think of a cow, not a hippo. That's funny.
every time I hear hippo, I go back to as a kid, hungry, hungry hippos.
Well, she could eat them. That could be the next scene.
Maybe.
Maybe the meek, girly high is just a cover up, and she's gonna eat them.
Maybe.
That would be kind of funny, actually.
Yeah. Okay, well that's all I got on my favorite parts. I did like that when he was in the wheelchair, he had the Moon Knight action figure.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, and he falls out, and you see the action figure laying. I've heard that you can buy that action figure. That is an actual Marvel action figure that they used. So,
I bet you a lot of people are buying it up right now.
Oh yeah, I'll bet you the value just went up on that.
Troy plays Fortnite, and I've started playing with him a little bit, kind of a thing, playing Fortnite. And they just released the other day a Moon Knight skin.
Oh, it figures.
And it was $15. I'm like, that's not happening. I'm not paying $15 for a Moon Knight skin.
Oh gosh. Well, they got to pay for the rights to use the character.
That's true. That's true.
Because I'm sure they're paying big bucks to use that. Just like they have Batman, and I think they've got Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me how many properties that they've been able to use. I'm like, wow, how did you guys do this?
They must be making some money because they're like, yeah, sure, we get
It's a
X
popular
amount.
game. I know that. So yeah, I guess that thing's making money hand over fist.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be making some big dough if you're getting properties from Star Wars, Marvel, DC.
Agreed. So action figure. So a bunch of people will probably be buying the action figure.
Probably. I haven't seen it in stores.
I haven't seen it either.
And I cruise the action figure aisle every time I go to the store. So, in fact, I don't have it handy. I know usually I have some stuff handy, but I don't have it handy. I did pick up a retro Mandalorian Death Trooper just yesterday. I found it at Target. I was slightly disappointed because I was looking for Boba Fett, but I was like, oh, the Death Trooper's cool. And then I was mad because they only had one, so I wanted it. Sorry, was it Tarwet? Oh, is Zig referring to the hippopotamus? Oh, I just noticed what Brenda said. She said, I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. That's hilarious. That's so funny. Oh, yeah, that was a good point. Brenda brought up the fact that Mark's legs were tied to the chair. And it was just like he bound himself to his Steven bound himself to his bed.
Oh, nice connection.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's a great connection. So, again, Mark having a fever dream.
Should be interesting to see how they play it out.
And Zig said yes. So.
Okay.
So Tourette, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying it right or not. Of course, I'm not saying anything right on this podcast. So.
That's the Egyptian goddess of childbirth and fertility. And
it's a hippo?
I guess.
Oh,
Kinda
interesting.
looks like one.
Well, okay, I'll take it. I guess. Cool.
They'd be cruising in the Nile. Just saying.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the Nile has always been a fertility growth.
She has kind of a feline head. Her torso is of a hippopotamus, and then she has a crocodile tail on her back.
Oh. Brenda just said maybe Layla is pregnant. Oh, and maybe that's why he's seen her. Interesting. That's interesting thought.
That is interesting. Huh.
And who impregnated her? Was it Steven?
Because Mark was gone for a long time.
So is it Steven's kid or Mark's kid?
Right. Dun, dun, dun.
That's funny to say because they're both the same person, but
Yep. Yep.
boy, if it's Steven, Mark's gonna be pissed. That's all I got to say. You think he just punched him for kissing her,
Right.
which plays into multiplicity. Rule number 1: nobody sleeps with my wife. I love Multiplicity. That is a great movie. And
Michael
of course,
Keaton and
Michael Keaton.
Andy McDowell.
Yeah, I don't remember. I just know
Okay.
Michael Keaton's the star of it, and I'm a big fan of Michael Keaton, so that is a great movie. That's one of my favorite Michael Keaton films. Although I have many my favorite Michael Keaton.
Right.
Multiplicity, Batman, of course, Mr. Mom, Dream Team. Oh, I love the Dream Team, and Dream Team's great because, granted, it's not modern now because the movie's like 30 years old,
Mhm.
but I remember seeing it going, wow, this is like a modern version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest starred Jack Nicholson, Joker, and Danny DeVito was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who ended up playing the Penguin. It's like the 6 degrees of Michael Keaton.
Kevin Bacon, but instead it's Michael Keaton. That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Or it could be Jack
funny.
Nicholson. I don't know. So yeah, if you haven't seen Multiplicity, watch Multiplicity. It's hilarious. It is so funny. Michael Keaton clones himself several different times. Well, he clones himself like once, and then one of the clones clones them, and then it just kind of goes on from there. And there's multiple of them till you get to the one that says, "Hi, Steve."
Right.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah. My only last thought is the third sarcophagus being Jake. I think you're onto something on that one.
I'm positive it's going to be Jake, and I think Jake is the personality that killed Layla's father. What,
that'd
Megan?
be interesting to see.
Alter.
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
Alter.
Okay, alter. Whatever. Oh my gosh.
All right. Any other insights, Mike?
That's all I got. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I'll say about that. All right. Well, everybody, I'm excited about next week, actually, to give me some kind of weird closure off of this weird episode. Just saying.
I knew that was coming. I told Brenda when I watched it, Steven is not going to be happy with this episode, but it sounds like you liked it more than I thought you would. So
I enjoyed the whole thing of the tomb raiding aspect of it. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
I figured the hospital part was going to throw you off and stuff.
The hospital part did throw me off, and I'm sure I'll be fine with it once they kind of explain it.
Yeah.
I just hate having that kind of a cliffhanger for a week.
I know. But it's the whole serial thing,
It is. That's true.
Pretty much every. You know what? You can blame that on George Lucas. George Lucas started all this because he wanted to go back to his childhood with all the serials,
Oh yeah, Lone Ranger. Lone Ranger was a huge serial. Superman. Exactly. There was an old Superman that was serial.
Oh,
yeah.
Everything back in those days was serial. Everything in the movie theaters were. So you can just kind of look at it as history repeating itself. Is all it is. So this will probably run its course, and then we'll have some different thing to go with. But right now, that's what it is. I mean, there's times when I miss the whole. I'd like a story encompassed in one episode and stuff. But we've moved on to this. You have to have an overarching story go through the entire season, which I mean, that's fun too. I like that too, because but there are times when I miss the old days of, you could watch one episode of a TV series and it's just self-contained.
It's all encapsulated right there in that hour.
In that 1 hour. And you can go back and watch that 1 hour and not have to watch 6 hours before it to understand. I get what you're saying. I understand it. But with the storytelling we have today, this is just the way it is. So I don't know what else to tell you, dude.
I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for joining us here on Two Geeks and a Microphone. If you want more, check us out at twogeeksmic.com, the number 2 GEEKSMIC.com. Check us out there. That's our hub.
Sorry.
Right. He starts singing it. Hey, speaking of copyright. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. But that's our hub for everything there on our webpage, and check us out there. You will also find our merch page. We got some fun new shirts that Mike has done. Save it for the podcast. That's a phrase he uses with me all the time.
Yep.
And which is, it's fun. I love it. And then also you will Penguin fell off the iceberg. That's the one. Yes, that's a good one. That's Mike's phrase for forgetting stuff. And then also Ko-fi. It will have a link to our Ko-fi page. It's just like Patreon, but we just like it a little bit better, and we enjoy it. It's much more better. I got it in. Right. So anyway, needless to say, we do appreciate you listening in. And anything else I may have missed?
Just that we need to push a couple episodes. So at the top of the hour, we told you about our crossover with Nerdery and Murdery. That episode will be out next Friday. You can listen to it then. And then I believe the following episode, the second part, which will be on the Nerdery and Murdery podcast, I believe theirs will come out the following Wednesday. If Zig's still in the chat, he can correct me if I am incorrect on that. Also, next week, we are supposed to have the Three Geeky Dads return and join us for a second look at the Batman, because it is now available on HBO Max.
Yes.
So if you have not had a chance to see it and you have HBO Max, I would say watch it. And Zig did confirm that is correct. So you can get the second part of their on their show on the following Wednesday. Anyway, yeah, I would highly recommend watching the Batman, and come back and join us next week live or the following Friday and listen to it and see our analysis with the Three Geeky Dads. Beyond that, Stephen will be on vacation for the two following Saturdays.
I will be.
And
yes.
Brian from Three Geeky Dads is going to join me as a guest co-host in place of Stephen. And we are going to be discussing the House of M, continuing our road to multi-madness. And then the following week, Brian and I are going to get into a Doctor Who discussion. Zig might want to join us for that. Zig's a big Doctor Who fan too. So, yeah, Steven's not into Doctor Who. And I found out that the other two geeky dads, or I guess three, because technically you have Tito also, they're not into Doctor Who. So Brian and I said, let's talk about Doctor Who. So
right on.
That's the things we got coming up. Then once Steven comes back, it is Doctor Strange 2.
Yes.
The Multiverse of Madness.
It's going to be great.
Which we've had a huge build up to. So.
A huge build up to.
So that's what's in the works for the next 4 weeks.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Good job. Thank you. For the discussion. I appreciate it too. This was good today. So thank you.
Yes, I had a good time too.
All right. It's all you, my friend. Sign us out.
All right. So with that said, over and out, and Excelsior. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,